meet her, and I was like, Rob,
Really?
she would rip your arms off and then beat you to death with them. Like, out of your mind, dude. I mean, she's like in the prime of her career, and he's retired. Not he's not in any sort of shape. She would have destroyed him.
Yeah, all she had to do was break both his arms. And
And
then it's done.
she would have easily done that. Yes. Guys are definitely very ego driven, and it's hard to think that you would lose to a woman until you compete with one who's really superior at something that you think that you're kind of good at, and you think, yeah, no, you're not. It's
Well,
everybody should experience that once in their life. Every man, pick your favorite thing, find the best woman in the world at it, feel like a jackass for a minute, understand your limitations. There's no shame in it. There's no shame in it. Danica Patrick's a better driver than 99.9% of men on earth. Sorry. You know? Bummer. But what are you going to do? Just appreciate that she's good at it.
So I'm trying to think what Rob Dibble. I know he's been in trouble a couple of times. Didn't he throw a baseball in the crowd once in anger?
Oh boy, yeah. He once what's his name? Doug DeCenzo with the Cubs drag bunted, and he fielded it and threw the ball into DeCenzo's back. Famously threw it. Jim Tuffle started a big brawl there. Did throw the ball in the center field. I think he hit a teacher or something and got in trouble for that. He got into a fist fight with his manager, Lou Piniella, post-game one time. Literally, in the dugout, the two of them beating the crap out of each other. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Super chill dude, though.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
He actually is now, but back in the day, he was, here's the problem. When you grow up and you're an idiot, but you're really good at something, you become a professional idiot, and retired in 1995 officially.
Yeah.
And in 1997, the salaries absolutely exploded. And his best year, he made 1.3 million.
Oh my God!
And if he pitched today, he'd easily be making $10 million a year.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I was actually just thinking in my head. I was thinking Rob Dibble was the one that went on that racist rant, but that was John Rocker. Remember him?
Yeah. Boy, those relievers are something else, aren't they?
Oh, I know. I always think relievers is like kind of the most overrated thing. You come in for 3 outs. I don't know.
So here's the thing, and that's why I like now they talk about the higher leverage situations where maybe bring the closer in the 8th inning, if that's where the best guys are up. If the 3, 4, 5 guys are going to bat in the 8th, bring your closer in the 8th and have somebody else pitch the 9th.
Well, that's what the Yankees used to do with Mariano and Wetland.
Well, yeah. I mean, also Mariano was so much. Oh, by the way, you know about Wetland? You know he's like in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's funny because I've been looking up the Yankee with all the kids from last week. You mentioned this. It didn't make it to air because I still don't know who you're talking about. But as I was searching Yankees with a lot of kids, I somehow stumbled across Yankees who have abused kids, and the list is lengthy. There's a lot of former New York Yankees who have been like raping and like pillaging children.
Chad Curtis.
Oh my lord, dude! Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, Jim Leyritz like killed a lady in I think DUI. Jim Leyritz, that guy was money. He's like a Robert Ory type guy. You know what I mean? Like when it's on the line, average player, but for some reason clutch.
Mark Wohlers to this day has to regret throwing a slider in that count. That was not his best pitch.
Yeah, they were up 2-0, and that was game 3, and they were up 6-0 in that game. That was a big turning point. So I guess we shouldn't have did a tease for Gabby because I think we got blown off again.
That's too bad. I was so excited.
I know.
Gabby is closing in on the what was the one with the manor? Oh God, why can't I think of the name of it? What's the manor?
What do you mean? I have no idea what you mean.
McCaney Manor.
McCaney Manor. Yeah. Remember we had that? Yeah, that was the worst guest of all time, and Gabby's starting to tread into those waters here. I have to say.
So we're going to talk about Mark Twitchell. Jedi, you want to tell us a little bit about him?
Yeah, who is Mark Twitchell? Well, he is a filmmaker, screenwriter wannabe. I guess that was his aspirations in life to become a director. When he was younger, he always wanted to be the center of attention, but he was often bullied, and so he spent most of his time recording sketches on video cameras. And then he was obsessed with writing and creating these videos. His first wife said that he was obsessed with dressing up and, living his life like these movies that he watched. But he ended up getting a fascination with the movie Dexter. I mean, not the movie, I'm sorry, the TV show series Dexter. Have you watched that, Todd?
Something. You know how much I hate blood.
Oh my gosh, you can't even watch it on TV?
No, I know.
What?
Yeah, I've never seen that. I would like to watch it though.
I love Dexter.
It is one of the greatest television shows of all time, but I gotta be honest, Todd, you're gonna hate it. You're not way too much cutting, way too much blood.
My
You
goodness.
could never. Yeah, you couldn't do it.
Oh my
Even,
goodness. So you don't know anything about Dexter.
I know the premise. I know he kills people, but they deserve to be killed. Stuff like that.
Right.
Even the show, I was just gonna say, someone recently told me to watch Ozark, and I'm like, okay. I put it on. The first 5 minutes of the first episode, people were getting like murdered left and right. I'm like, this is.
I watch stuff like that almost every day.
Oh my god. Joe does too, but it's usually animals getting eaten by other animals.
Right. We all have our thing, right? We all have our thing.
Joe, we were texting back and forth, Jedi and myself, and we were talking about doing one with sea animals. How versed are you with them? Not as much?
No, I'm definitely. I'm not a huge sea animal guy, but yeah, I'm definitely. I've been getting more into the sea animals, especially sharks, whales, octopus. I've watched a lot of octopus stuff. I can tell you a lot about them. I like think
They're highly intelligent.
They're probably smarter than we are. They actually, it's funny, if they find like a bucket on the bottom of the ocean, it'll take one of its tentacles and like put the bucket under its arm, and for like the next 10 hours do whatever it's doing. It's taking that bucket because it's going to put the bucket over its head, and it's going to sleep inside of the bucket. So like an octopus can think about like not just what it's doing now, but like I'm gonna need to use this for tonight. And so, I mean, they're an extremely thoughtful and intelligent creature, and I think they're from outer space.
Really?
I do. I think they ended up here from somewhere else, and I think that they maybe were on one of those comets that hit like maybe the Yucatan or something.
So is that what the other aliens are looking for? Octopuses, but can't find them because they're on the bottom of the ocean?
They're hiding. Very smart. And I mean, dude, just think about what they can do.
Right.
I mean, they can blend into their background instantly. Like that requires thought. You have to like think about what you're trying to become, and then you can do that. Again, it just shows a really high level of intelligence, which, we're looking. I don't know if you guys have seen on Neptune. They landed a rover on the atmosphere of Neptune, and there's a storm on Neptune that's been raging for at least 200 years. That's 5 times the size of planet Earth. There's basically 5 giant cyclone clouds. It looks like a big giant red spot on Neptune, and they zoomed in on it. There's an ocean on Neptune. It's covered in ocean. And yeah, so if there's water, there's a chance that something could be living outside of it or inside of it. So we're looking for humans. We think this is what intelligent life looks like, and I say if you've seen an octopus, you've seen a different form of really highly intelligent life. So there's things out there that I think if you saw it, you probably wouldn't know you were looking at it. Right.
I'm still amazed, our first show with the Oakville Blobs, how that girl told us that a jellyfish does not have a brain, but it somehow knows to do stuff. That's amazing.
Look how
It doesn't
long they
make sense.
survived. They
Yeah.
were able
I
to
know.
survive, but all this time.
I know, it is weird. All right, so let's get back to Twitchell here. So he graduated from Radio and Television Arts program at Northern Alberta Institute of Technology. He was kind of a dreamer. He wanted to be a director. You ever notice, do you know any people nowadays that, like, you ask them what they do, they say, oh yeah, I'm like a film guy. Unless your last name is Spielberg, every person I know like that lives at home, has no money. No, I mean, I know a couple people that just like,
You're a waiter. Just say
Right.
waiter.
Right.
yeah, I mean that's kind of like, you know how my brother-in-law, his son is 8, and we go to his football games, and he is like amazing. He scores touchdowns all the time, and he decided he didn't want to play football anymore. And he's like, we're really sad because we thought this was going to be our ticket. I'm like, do you understand the odds of him being a professional? Like, he thought he was going to be like on the Patriots in 10 years.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So it's kind of like the same thing if you want to be a director. The odds of getting that break, there's probably like a million people trying to do like small things like that.
I want to do it myself. I wouldn't mind, directing films.
And I also think people like that are people who don't want to have a real job. They're like, hey, I'm going to be like a movie guy. It just seems like it never works out. And this was basically the same thing with Mark Twitchell. He was always going around trying to get investors to invest in these short films. He wrote a few scripts. In 2007, he directed Star Wars Secrets of Rebellion, which was a fan film, and it had a cameo from the guy who played Boba Fett. Are you guys Star Wars people?
Not really. I'm more Indiana Jones.
Oh, I love Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
As a boy, I watched episodes 4, 5, and 6, and
Yeah.
I didn't need any more story.
Yeah, I'm not a Star Wars person at all.
Yeah.
I love the
But yeah-
3. I've watched the 3 with my son, but I've never seen any of the other
No.
anything after 83.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, like Empire Strikes Back or whatever was the last one you saw.
Yeah, I hate to tell people, but Boba Fett died. I saw it.
Oh, spoiler alert.
No, I mean he died in 1983. How could they possibly bring that guy back? He didn't get out of that thing. He didn't get out of that worm in the ground. He got out of that? No, he didn't. Shut
I'm
up.
just trying to carry on the story for the younger generation.
You know what happened? You know what happened, Jedi? Like 10 years later, people were like, "Dude, it was pretty awesome, that Boba Fett guy." And they were like, "Yeah, but he's dead." "Oh, but he got out." All right. And now they're making movies about him. Like, get out of here with that. It's so stupid. Why don't
That's
you do
gonna
a
happen.
movie? Why don't you do a movie about Uncle Owen? Right? Because I didn't see him get burned up by stormtroopers and sand people. I saw it. He's dead. He doesn't get to come back.
I think that's what they're gonna do with Captain Barbosa from Pirates of the Caribbean as well.
Yes,
Bring him
of
back.
course they are. Yeah. He didn't really die, despite because you know why? We live in an era now where just because you saw something doesn't mean it happened.
Right. Yeah, I
Oh
know.
my
Yeah.
goodness.
So on top of the Star Wars movie, he also wrote a script for Day Players, which was a buddy comedy. And then he shot House of Cards in a garage that he rented in Edmonton. And then he ended up going from his addiction to Star Wars to Dexter. So Jedi, what do we know about House of Cards?
Well, House of Cards. Do you have the clip, Joe?
Take responsibility for what I am. You were right. Harry killed the wrong person. Logan, you're not thinking about kill myself? No, it's pathetic. I can't live in this house of cards anymore. Waiting for it all to fall down. I need to do something, you know?
So this is where I think Mark Twitchell decided to create his House of Cards movie. Originally, it's supposed to be a hockey mask wearing serial killer, right?
Yeah.
And then so what the plot is, he lures cheating husbands to a garage. He poses as a female and he lures these cheating husbands to the garage where he hits them and stuns them with a stun baton, ties them up and kills them. Then after all of that, he dismembers these bodies.
Right, and he had his studio set up with the plastic sheeting and stuff to protect all the blood. But did you notice a lot of the actors said he was way too into it? Like when they were stabbing people, he'd be like, grit your teeth, like he was getting really excited by it.
Yeah, because I
give
think
you
he was,
fair.
you know, this he was
Yeah.
starting to
We have to
realize
we have to take
and
what we have so
start
far from the
his
curriculum and put it
fantasy
into a different
in real
document.
life. I mean, I
Otherwise,
think,
we'll
you know, he was plotting it, and
we have to
finally
pick and
this is
choose
the step
whatever.
to bring him closer, because didn't he have his friends or people that he hired for the House of Cards
When
to build these
she went to
elaborate
open
sets,
the
and they
document and
also
start
built a
copying and
table,
pasting,
and he used all these
it wasn't
things
there.
in his
And she's like,
attempts,
we
you
worked
know,
on this. We
to
worked on
kill
this for
someone.
months.
I mean, he
Where is
actually
it?
used these
And I said,
set props. He
I don't
got
know.
what?
Like,
He
I
got
don't remember
a
if I
stun
saw it last
baton,
year
he
to
got
be able to
duct tape,
say
he got
definitively when
plastic.
it
So,
left.
I mean, he was
The
planning.
mask, the mask.
Right.
But we
And
don't,
did
like,
you
it's
see
not
that he
there right
talked
now.
to his first wife, and he's just
We have
mentioned
the
it a couple
Google guy
times?
come down
Have
and
you ever
he's
had any
doing, like,
fantasies
a
of killing?
run
And she
of
was like,
the
well,
Yeah.
to see if he can
she's
find
like, well, we all do,
history
but you
of it
can't
there.
act on it.
Yeah, but he
He
pushed
is not
it
walking.
even
I told him
further,
to come
saying
back
that he
so
wanted
could
to
look at
find
the
a
menu
homeless
before
person
Yes,
to kill,
yes.
so they
that,
wouldn't
yeah.
remember him or care about his victim.
Yeah, so no one would even recognize it. And you know what? I have like a tiny bit of sympathy, not much, but like imagine being born and in your brain you have this like crazy temptation to kill, and you would just have to live your entire life not going on it, like pedophiles, killers. Like that would suck to have that feeling. I mean, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just have to live your whole life not acting on something that you were born with.
But yeah, that's
I've wanted
why.
to murder people lots of times.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't.
What stopped you? What stopped
But
you?
you can tell he's like extreme. That's kind of
I-
like a curse you were born with or something.
Yeah, that's got to be tough. You know, so 1 in 5 people is a sociopath. Did you know that? And of that group, 1 in 5 of those people is like a murderous psychopath. Most psychopaths are cunning and smart enough to avoid violence and just generally kind of blend into society. Like they're smart enough to like recognize and read rooms and know, you know, I'm sure they're pretty manipulative people, but they're not like prone to violence. It's a rare thing, but when you get someone that's super bloodthirsty like that, you're
Yeah.
generally in trouble because they'll just do whatever. And like you said, you know, when they have urges, and it only escalates too, Todd. That's the worst part in these people. You know, it's not enough to like skin one person alive. Now you're like, you know what else I could do? If I just dismembered them. Yeah, and it just gets worse from there.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
are there like
yeah.
also telltale signs? Like his wife was saying that he was a compulsive liar, and
That's
he
a
would
pretty
just
good sign.
he would just lie about the stupidest things, like, you know, paying bills. He would lie about
Yes.
that, just about
Yeah.
everything.
And then, did you see the time that she walked in on him? He was on like Ashley Madison, and he made up like an elaborate lie that he was researching for like a movie.
On the spot.
Yeah, I know.
He did it on the
I hate
spot.
this
That's
book.
how smart
It
and
just
creative
does not want to read right.
like these people are.
Yeah. Now, when we're talking about all these sociopaths, I went to Boston for like 12 years for work on the train every day. You're on a packed train. Do you know how many people that you are with that you don't even know that they're either want to kill people or a pedophile or something? You just will never know.
That's why I
It's
don't
kinda
trust
scary.
anybody.
I know you
Can't
don't.
trust anybody.
So let's get into the first attempt at murder here.
No, his first victim. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
I think it's-
Giles?
I think it's Gillies, or I really don't know. Yeah,
Gilles?
whatever. Yeah, Gilles.
Yeah, what happened with him was he was the lucky one. He actually escaped. He was married and moved to Edmonton and ended up having his wife divorce him and leave him. And after that, he decided to sign up for online dating because, you know, you don't know anyone there. And he found a profile called Spiderwebs. And the person's name associated with this profile was Sheena. They decided to go out. She called all the shots. She chose the place and, you know, where they were going, what they were going to do on the date, and also told him where and how to pick her up, which was strange. You know, she led him to her house. She told him that she lived in a basement apartment, so it would be weird upon, you know, entering her house, the things that he would have to go through, which was detached garage. And so he ended up going there. No questions asked.
Yeah, and I do have to say, it was Plenty of Fish, the website. That's the one that I used to go on, the dating app.
Oh my
and
goodness.
like, my girls will never go on dating apps because shit like that happens all the time. I even had a couple of situations where I had to tell friends where I was going because it was such an odd situation for like a girl to ask me to go somewhere. So can you imagine how creepy guys are telling you to go to an abandoned garage?
But were you weirded out? Did you ever have an experience being weirded out yourself?
I've had
Like-
a couple situations where like I didn't even post my picture on Plenty of Fish, and I had a few times girls being like, just come over or just come in, and I'm like, this is like the weirdest thing.
Just
but not
come
only that,
in.
Wow.
Yeah, like- but I would even say like, don't do that. I could be a killer or something. You know what I mean? Like that's a dangerous
Right.
situation to put yourself in.
Oh my gosh. I didn't realize people were that trusting.
Yeah, I know. You wouldn't. I know you would never do that, Jedi. So,
Yeah.
all right, did he end up going to the garage, right?
Right. He went through the garage that was partially open, and she directed him that that would be the case. And as soon as he got in, he was accosted by a man in a black and gold hockey mask who started beating him and stunning him with this stun baton.
Yeah, he said like, didn't the stun baton immediately like knock the wind right out of him?
Yeah, he was having a hard time moving and functioning. He said his legs gave out on him. So, oh my gosh, I wouldn't want to never be in that situation. I don't know what the hell I would do.
Yeah, so he was fighting for his life, and didn't he say like, I'm not gonna let him kill me? And what did he roll out of the garage? Wasn't there a little tiny opening?
No. What had happened was Mark duct taped him, and then he pulled out a gun, and then he was thinking, oh, I'm gonna die, and I guess Giles found it in himself to decide, you know what, I'm not going down like this. So he grabbed the gun, found out it was plastic. So then once he found it was a plastic gun, then he started fighting some more, and then he was still having a hard time because the stun baton, his muscles weren't working, and he eventually was able to crawl out of the garage and go outside. And while outside, he saw that this couple was walking their dog, and he cried out for help for them. And they were hesitant to help him. Can you believe that? They didn't want to
Wasn't
help him.
I think it was daylight too. I think it was for some reason like in the middle of the.
Right. I mean, somebody is on the floor begging for help, and people refuse to help him. I couldn't believe that. I mean, I was just so upset at that.
Well, you gotta think in this day and age with Jackass and everything, if some guy comes like yelling and screaming, rolling out of a garage, you don't know how to take that.
Yeah, and that's what happened. Mark eventually came out, tried to drag him back in, and he was surprised to see that couple out there. And what he did is he just played it off like it was some Jackass prank, like they
Yeah.
were friends or something.
Yeah.
Smart.
Didn't he say like, oh hey, come back in here or something?
Yeah, it was just the weirdest thing. And then I guess they had a change of heart when they went home. This couple ended up calling the police, but by the time the police got there, everything was cleaned up, or nothing was wrong. They didn't see anything wrong. The garage was closed, and they just left. And Giles, because of embarrassment, he didn't want to report it, so he didn't.
Yeah, right. So, probably Mark learned he made a mistake, and that's probably how the story ends, right?
No, it does not.
So we're only gonna fast forward to a week later when he starts doing it again. But real quick, we were talking about how Mark was such a pathological liar. Did you see how he quit his job, but he didn't tell his wife, so he just like drove around all day?
Yes, and the fact that
Oh my
they
god.
were trying to buy a
Sociopath
house.
move.
Yeah, I know. What's that, Jedi?
That
When
dude,
they
that's
were
such a
trying to buy a
sociopath
house.
move.
Yeah.
Oh
I don't. Imagine quitting your job and like just leaving the house during the day and coming back and pretending you worked.
my god. I know people that have done that.
Yeah, so do I.
I mean, and they're all sociopaths. Like that's only a sociopath would do that.
I knew
That's
someone
funny.
who was like a personal trainer at the gym, and that he lived with his mom. He would wear his uniform, pretend he was going out, and his mom left for work. He would come back in the house, go upstairs, change his clothes, and right before his mother came back home, he'd go upstairs and put on his personal trainer uniform.
Wow.
That's
That
funny.
is sad.
Still, Joe, one of the funniest stories you told me that I tell people all the time is you told me you had a friend that like told you guys he was like a butler in Greenwich or something.
Yeah, no, the dude said he lived in a house in Greenwich, and he got to the house, and the housekeeper wouldn't let him in.
Oh yeah. He said he lived there. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Turned away, and he left, and he was like, "Oh, he's like Alice is so hilarious. She does that sometimes." And it's like, "Wait, are we not going in your house then, or how is this gonna work? You psycho, Jesus."
So Joe, Alice, is there any way you can recall what you used for the first time? Tell the story for the housekeeper's name.
I don't remember. I just went with Alice because that's such a
No,
housekeeper name.
I know the answer.
That's from the Brady Bunch.
What is it?
You said Rosita.
Rosita. All right. Rosita.
That's such a great story, though. I mean, but the thing is, that's like a Mark Twitchell thing. Like, why lie to impress people? I mean, it's not going to
Right.
affect anything.
Yeah, but sure, nobody. It's not like we didn't not believe him
Right.
until he took us to his house, and they were like, "Yeah, you can't come in." Then it was like, "Wait a minute, this dude lying? Like, why did he ever take us there? There was no reason for it."
Right. Nothing good could have
catfish,
come of it for him.
With
No.
Cajun fries.
So
and
looking
suicide
back, do you
anyways.
think he was a sociopath?
Very much so. Yes, and yeah, just always out to fit in and prove himself to everybody. It was a weird thing, and he was just a beloved guy. It was the most bizarre thing. I don't understand it. I really don't. It was completely unnecessary.
All right, so let's get to Johnny Alexandra. Jedi, don't you kind of feel bad? I mean, besides what happens to him, I feel like this guy, like, I don't know, had no luck with women, and you're just trying to
Yeah,
like
he
find
was
a date.
lonely. He was
Yeah.
lonely in a new place, of course. You know, that's the thing now, going online and meeting people.
Yeah, so Johnny Altinger, a week later, you would have thought that Twitchell would have been like, I escaped that. Let's not do that again. But a week later, he was on there posing as Jen. He was Sheena, like you said the week before. And he was searching POF, and he talked to a girl that just wanted a hookup. So on October 10th, he told his friends he was going to meet a woman in a weird location. That was so smart of him to say where he was going, because if he didn't, this
Right.
case might have had a different ending. So he went to the garage that he went to, that Giles went to, and there was his film studio that turned into his kill room. So when Johnny entered, he was immediately hit with a copper pipe, just like Giles. He was bludgeoned and stabbed, so he was immediately murdered. He didn't get lucky like Giles did. So Twitchell put him on a table and cut his body apart. He cut off his fingers, his feet, all that stuff, and put it in a trash bag. And did you see how he later said he was like surprised how easily the human body could be cut?
Yes, he was fascinated by what he was doing. Like he had that thrill.
Yeah, so that's basically what Dexter did, right? We'll get into the Dexter later. So how many seasons are there in Dexter? Is it a bunch of seasons?
I don't remember. Yes, it is a bunch of seasons. I think the new one is starting right now. I don't have Showtime, so I can't watch it, and I'm dying to watch it. But yes, I think there's 9. I think I'm not
Oh.
sure.
I didn't know it was still going. Joe
Eight
could be
seasons.
answering.
8 seasons of Dexter.
8
Yeah.
seasons. So they're on the
There's-
9th one.
Are you guys gonna watch the Pam and Tommy?
No.
Yeah, I know. I saw those
Nothing's
8
gonna beat
episodes.
the original.
Oh, it's funny. So, all right. So days after the murder, Twitchell broke into Johnny's house because he knew eventually the police could just trace the IP address back. So he went in. He stole some of his money. He stole his laptop, and he messaged his friends that he met a wealthy woman that was taking him to Costa Rica a few months.
Terrible.
He also messaged his work with his resignation notice, but he never responded to an email where to send his final check. So eventually the friends got suspicious. They broke into his house, only to find dirty dishes, his passport, and no indication that he packed up for a trip. So a homicide investigation was opened.
That's
Pretty
pretty
crazy, how
good. Yeah. Well, of his friends to notice that. I read that they noticed regarding the emails that that's not the style of writing that Johnny would write, and that was like the first indication that something was wrong because he didn't phrase it, using words that Johnny would use in his emails.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of Dateline. It's my favorite show, and this exact thing happens on tons of cases. Someone will kill someone, and then the person will write, and they'll write like, "Hey sis, how's?" And they know immediately. So they would not say, "Hey sis," or
Right.
like, "Hey buddy." It's like, all right, this person emails me all the time. They've never done that, so that's like a telltale sign.
Did you see the one where the kid hit his mom up because some woman was carrying on for years pretending to be his mom who had like run off or some baloney, and he was like, "Hey mom, what's my middle name? What was the name of my best friend in the first grade? And what was our first dog's name?
Yeah, no response.
Just answer me those questions so I know that it's you." And she didn't, and he was like, "That's not my mom."
But those are questions that are asked when you fill out financial website information. They ask you, when did you go to school?
That
right?
is true. Yeah, yeah. You'd think maybe that lady would have known, and
Right.
she probably could have answered. But it was the same thing where this lady was like, like "Cowabunga, dude," and they were like, Leslie would never say that. Like, yeah, right. Talking about what?
Leslie's 97 years old. She doesn't know the word cowabunga. That's funny. So the investigation was opened, and they headed to the garage. They looked up who was renting it, and they found it was Mark Twitchell. So they contacted him and they met up at the garage. And did you see how like easygoing he was? And he was like, "Oh yeah, come on in, like check it out." That's like how cocky and confident he was.
But that was his downfall.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he definitely wasn't smart in the end. Did you see he said like, "Oh my God, someone tampered with the lock." He didn't recognize the padlock, which was just like another lie. They found in there receipt for paper towels, gloves, sheeting, and cleaner that was paid with a credit card. Now they found the receipt for February 15th, and Twitchell said the last day it was the 10th. Now the police didn't tell him if they had that receipt, so they kind of held that for later. Another thing, they were waiting for that guy Giles to come forward because those two people that found him on the street reported it, but no one ever came forward. Remember you said he was like embarrassed?
Right, yeah. He eventually did, right?
Yeah, it was like a month later while they were questioning Twitchell. Twitchell wasn't even really on the radar first because even that smart detective there, he was like, "Oh, there's no way. I'm so good at judging people, and I can tell he's telling the truth." So when they finally got Giles in, they talked to him about what happened to him. Do we have that, Joe?
Dad's bother, or is it like, no, that's the thing is like, this is the whole thing. This is what I'm thinking while I'm doing this. This guy, he had, if he was more professional, he could have killed me right away. Like right when I walked in, I didn't see him. He could have hit me over the head with a bat, a baton, or anything. I could have knocked me unconscious right away. And I don't know why he did that. His whole plan was to use this taser thing on me first. I mean, that was stupid on his part. But he had many chances to kill me. He never did.
Yeah, so do you think that had something to do with him wanting to play out the role, Jedi? If he could have just killed him right away?
Yeah, that was actually the victim, right? Giles.
Yeah, that was the first victim when he finally came to the police station. But he said he could have just killed him right away. Do you think he kind of wanted to act out the script?
Yes, I do. I think he was just too dramatic with it. It was just too played out. He just got caught in the fantasy. It should have been quick.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So then they were still interrogating Twitchell. They kind of knew they had him at this point. Then he offered up some weird information. Did you see when he said, "Oh, by the way, just to let you know, I bought a car for $40," because he had.
Yes, that was the stupidest excuse that he did. He said, "What? Somebody notified him to buy this car, and he just jumped on it for $40."
Yeah. Basically, he knew he had Johnny Alton's car on his property, so he thought he had to come up with an excuse for the police. So he said, "Oh yeah, some random guy met some rich lady," and he said, I need to get rid of this car before I go to Costa Rica. How much money do you have?" And he goes, $40. Obviously, that's like the worst lie ever. And the other thing is, Jedi, they said to him, "When's the last time? Oh, can I see your credit card?" And he gave him his credit card number, and it matched the receipt that they found in the garage saying that he bought all those supplies on the 15th. So they knew they had him.
Never use your credit card. You always pay in cash.
Yeah, I know. You probably
Not
do,
that,
right?
not that I'm planning on doing anything, but you know.
Dude, how about the dopes though that pay with cash and they use like their discount card and like save 10%? Like idiot.
You save 10%, you go in jail for 30 years to save 10%.
Oh my goodness.
So that's when the detective got really angry, and let's take a look at that interrogation clip.
There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that you're involved in the disappearance of John Altinger.
What the fuck am I doing?
No doubt in my mind at all, Mark.
Why?
As I said, Mark, there's no doubt in my mind that you're involved in this disappearance. I just want to get to the bottom of this, because this is not going to go away. It's not going to leave you, Mark.
I don't understand.
I'm going to explain some of the reasons to you. But you do understand, because you know what I'm talking about. You're involved in this, and unfortunately, something got carried away.
Joe, I want to see your reaction right now. You see how calm he was?
Yeah.
Joe, I know you killed my mother. Would you react? Wouldn't you be like, no? What are you talking about? Like,
Oh, dude, I say that all the time. You could tell when somebody's innocent because they're like, "Oh my God, like I didn't do this."
right?
Somebody who is just like, "Nah, I don't know what you're talking about." You're being accused of murdering somebody. How are you like just totally chill like that? I would be like, "Look, there's got to be some kind of mistake."
Right.
You know, again, he's just like, "No, how can this be?" What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's insane. Insane.
There was a thing probably like 7 or 8 years ago. I believe the guy's name was Leslie. I remember it was kind of a girl's name for a guy. But there was people shooting BB guns and stuff over the overpass. And I don't know if people got killed or something, but they brought this guy in. He served time, and he kept saying to the judge, like, "This is not me." I'm like, this guy is innocent. He was like flipping out. He's like, "You have the wrong person, I'm telling you." And he went to jail, and it ended up he was innocent. Like, you can tell by their reaction.
Yeah.
Like, there's no question about it. So anyways, they impounded that car that he bought for $40, and inside of it they found Mark's laptop, and they found blood that matched Johnny Altinger's. So they also got a search warrant for Twitchell's parents' house. They found that mask, Jedi, and they found the mask. They found the laptop in the trash bin under a deleted file. They found something called SK Confessions.
See, he didn't even clean up properly. He made too many mistakes. Leaving it at
I
his
totally
parents'
agree.
house.
So before we get into SK Confessions, the very last thing here is that the police posed as an investor for a film. He was so stupid, Twitchell. And they said, "We're going to meet you to give you a check for one of your upcoming films." He's like, "Oh my God, I'm finally going to have like a feature film." And when he showed up, they arrested him and charged him with first-degree murder. So what do we know about SK Confessions? What do we think SK might stand for?
Serial killer. Ooh. I mean, I was reading it, and it is kind of spooky. I mean, let me just share a little of what, the couple of paragraphs of how it starts off. This is the story of my progression into becoming a serial killer. Like anyone starting out in a new skill, I had a bit of trial and error in the beginning of my misadventures. Allow me to start from the beginning, and I think you'll see what I mean. I don't remember the exact place and time I was